Good afternoon, all. Thanks a lot to HWWE 2021 at IIT Guwahati for giving me this opportunity to share my research. And welcome all. Presenting Engaging Design Projects, a PBL framework for the new normal communication design education. So this research presents the work that I have done on pedagogical development and have designed a project-based learning framework that was implemented for 2 design project courses for MDes Graphic Design 2018 and 19 batches in new normal times of 2020, done via hybrid distance learning modes as a faculty anchor in 2020 at Graphic Design at NID Ahmedabad. So going to the roots of project-based learning, it all began with Professor Adam Kinori, who has been a humanities high school teacher in New York. And the big leap happened in his classroom when he taught his students how to embed digitized clips into their documents, which helped them to learn how to merge visual imagery with written analysis. So effective PBL innovative methods, which are more student-centric, developed and with time, and lots of models which have empowering, responsible and engaging result-oriented students learning have come into the foray. Taking leads from this, as a researcher, I was comparing traditional versus project-based classroom. So for traditional courses in conventional format, students just design the tangible design outcome and control creating, improving, and presenting that alone, which is being evaluated, versus as a faculty anchor of these 2 project-based learning courses in NID, I took leads from K-12 learning basis, in which PBL became a collaborative learning and reinvention practice. Students got involved into meaningful opportunities to engage with real-time project areas. So DP2 and DP3 in this entire exercise and research became engaging design projects, in which I, as a faculty anchor, ensured that there are more number of challenges and engaging units as part of the instructional model. And I should scaffold students' strengths as well as interests by increasing their interaction amongst themselves, with their project guides, with project stakeholders, bring out outside resources, as well as create their own ICT-based educational clouds. Integrated formative and summative assessment mechanism by organizing 3 Dept review presentations for them, as well as sending them written feedbacks post the reviews. That was ensured. So both DPs being engaging design projects, EDP is an online action-based inclusive distance learning project that integrates active interactions, blended learning and assessments with respect to essential units of engagements, all these from pre-proposal till documentation, but students as subject leaders are controlling them, and the linearity and the non-linearity depends upon what they want to solve in the design problem context at hand, along with faculty anchor as well as their own project guides. So this is the course structure and planning along with the EDP inclusive maps that were shared with students. Within the context of EDP2, let's look at that. So context and information systems within EDP2 required students to select a brand or a new existing brand or a new brand and develop and revamp their the design for digital ecosystems through a product, feature, or an asset at varied touch points of interactions, and set the visual communication design using methods of contextual analysis, aspiration mapping, etc. that was taught to them using spontaneous co-creation, prompt idea generation workshops, mappings, and all. Also, home location flexibility and phase decision making in accordance with students' timing and comfort along with faculty guides was taken care of by anchor faculty, and things were proceeded accordingly. Regarding evaluations and assessments, faculty members assess students and the entire projects, considering the 4 Ps, which are the 4 elemental units of the proposed framework. So in pitch, evaluation was done on research and comprehension along with project management. In process, evaluation was done on the details of the design process and the iterative nature of explorations and visualization. In product, it was the check on originality as well as innovations involved in the quality of the product output or the design solution and its documentation. And in performance, it was comment and critical feedbacks on professional values, ethics, and concerns, and also taking into account how students have interacted and participated in the entire project course, along with anchor faculty as well as their project guides. So moving ahead, showcasing few design discipline project subject areas here, and these have been my students who I guided. So for Amog, he was to design a siteless design in India museum, in which graphic design and exhibition design need identifications were getting tackled. So that is a blend. For Rohit, the blend was virtual reality technologies along with storytelling modes, 2D and 3D illustration, 360 panoramic styles. For Tanushri, in her project, it was looking into alternative sustainable food ingredients to make young professionals aware of these in quick recipes that they can handle in the quick paced life. So she merged graphic design with UI UX elements along with 3D illustration techniques. So for both the EDPs, the challenges in front of us was to bring these real world issues in real time and recreate the digital ecosystems in new normal times. Blended learning techniques were ensured to be more student-centric. Balance of learning to do skill-wise as well as learning to know how to bring in innovations through new resources and educational clouds was ensured. And innovation factors in the detailing out of the product executions and testing them with relevant users was also ensured. So pitch helped us understand and envision the entire project in pre-proposal, proposal, and post-proposal stages. Process was to understand and design the innovation part of the products and the processes involved. In the product, enabling it for feedbacks as well as testing and validation was ensured, and also executing again and improving upon things based on faculty feedbacks was taken forward by students. Performance was monitoring and adjusting from the faculty anchors side all these 3 depth reviews and the entire course of EDPs. So for the 4 Ps, pitch, process, product, and performance, there were certain blended learning skills that we'll see in further slides how they have been implemented. So focusing now on each of the Ps, starting with P1, the pitch. In EDP2, context and information systems, for instance, there were a series of co-creation workshops on how context influences design. So from the perspective of activity, surroundings, distance, and physical environment, visual communication briefs were understood. And in an asynchronous way, as social media posts on Instagram and Facebook interactions was also ensured with these students who took these forward. And like for these first 2 students of mine, along with the entire class when they were meeting me, they selected native design briefs in order to preserve design digital ecosystems around those native subject areas, along with few others who picked up some contemporary digital ecosystem subject areas. So the Jamboards helped a lot in individual skill-based learning rotation as applied. Also, the individual skill-based rotation learning happened between the guide and the student. Like here for Amog, we were trying to merge graphic design and exhibition design learnings. So as a guide, my effort was that in order to utilize that knowledge, and also he implemented it in the navigation, siteless museum design, the design of the courtyard, Indian courtyard, as well as the Vastu Purusha Mandal design. The same also came across in the selection of the name that happened as per Indian context, and varied other things like how the visitor will navigate as per Indian practices within the Siteless Museum web portal. For Manali, who has been a special student with us, she used Google Paraphrase on her mobile in order to understand feedbacks and sessions from my end and her guide's end. And this helped in paraverbal prompts and communication strategy, which honed her individual skills. There was also another practice of honing individual skill-based rotation learning, in which pre-proposals students made in especially EDP3 projects, but some of them also did it for EDP2. So it is a 5 to 6 page idea of a project in which initial primary and secondary research was done by each of the students. And this was submitted more as a dress rehearsal document before the submission of their final one-page proposals. In order to give example of a flipped effective remote blended learning method, this is from another student of mine, Rohit, who I guided. And when he was discussing his project with VR experts and 3D illustrators in a flipped session, then he came back to me with self-guided points and insights, and also an idea of creating his own educational cloud using ICT resources and similar such resources from KMC online library. And also he did the innovation in terms of 2D and 3D outputs in his techniques. For Bhavijit, it was Yakin brand, which was also an app and a student body and an admin body in order to help NID faculty, students, as well as staff who have lost their items within the NID premises, and also a visual strategic campaign or at those various premises touch points was substantiated and established in a new normal way. Not only that, asynchronously on Instagram and Facebook, he carried forward the entire campaign and helped out people who lost items in NID. So the 3 Dept reviews ensured supplemental learning for faculty anchor as well as the students. So each of the students presented their projects at different stages of the 3 reviews. And one can see that from 2 Ps of review 1, the entire 4 Ps and the requirements were submitted in review 3. Also, it was ensured by faculty anchor to have a multidisciplinary panel for feedbacks. So along with 2 graphic design faculties, there was always another design discipline faculty involved for multidisciplinary critical feedbacks. Now in the rich co-creation learnings, thinking aloud sessions, as well as these Dept reviews, strengths as well as competencies of students were commented on. And we could see that there were some students very good with visualization creativity, but they were falling short of skill set in management and research areas. And also they themselves realized what all competencies they would like to garner. Like some of them shared that they would like to become better multitaskers, as well as better collaborators and observers, because users are involved in these projects in a much more human-centric way. So those were the points which enriched the learning of supplemental blend for both the teachers as well as the faculty members. Coming to the 4 Ps framework, I would like to touch upon, in a nutshell, the structure of why things are placed the way they are in the 4 Ps. So horizontal axis included projects of 18 students per batch and their faculty guides, giving focused and descriptive feedbacks, supervision, assistance in the core subject area that helped each student and set the first 2 Ps, the pitch as well as the process critically within the objectives and higher education learning objectives of PBL. Anchor faculties with multidisciplinary faculty reviewers could conduct triadic reviews for the EDP students to assess the product and performance, which are now on the same horizontal axis below. Hybrid format combined all the PBL stakeholders and their value aspirations from the EDP. Hence, the vertical axis includes good scope of honing single or blend of skills with existing or aspired core competencies in the selected subject area of graphic design, chosen by all the students in the batch in discussions with faculty anchor and guides as an outcome of the first 2 weeks of workshops and also workshops in the middle of both the EDPs. So very briefly, the main core innovation points being that the first 2 Ps, pitch and process, set the maximum momentum for each and every project with a flipped learning application in terms of co-creation workshops, thinking aloud sessions, collective student synthesis, activities on Miro boards, Jam boards, etc. with anchor faculty. Also, if we look into visually the framework again, look at the 4 Ps achieved And how they achieved innovation was the moment a detailed plan of strengthening core competencies on x-axis was channelized through the outcome aims set for all the 4Ps to invent a new normal teaching learning paradigm. Vertically mapped in the 4Ps visualization, the teaching learning paradigm has a strong backing of all the blended learning techniques, their adoption, flexibility in applications, depending on projects and validations in the product and performance Ps as part of the 3 reviews, plus the project documentation submitted by students of both the EDPs. So I see a bright future of this framework in terms of marrying all the design disciplines along with engineering disciplines and looking into interdisciplinary EDPs. Maybe we can call them engaging interdisciplinary design projects and looking into further collaborative learnings out of the same. Thank you so much for your patience. I would love to have all your questions and feedbacks.